This is another gay horror podcast with Stuart Ross and Jesse Tabbitt.
Welcome to week 3 of our holiday horror podcast special.
Yes.
Week 4? Week 4. Thanksgiving, Black Christmas, Friday the 13th. Yeah, week 4.
Oh my God.
Time flies when you're celebrating holidays.
Wow. What a beautiful fast time of year.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know I'm not eating. This is going to be the second week in a row we're recording at night. I'm saying the dumbest thing.
We're so loopy. I'm so loopy.
It's 7:30 and I act like it's 2 a.m.
Courtesy of daylight savings time, baby.
Yeah.
Among other things.
But yeah, today, what are we covering?
We are covering Better Watch Out.
You better watch out.
Better watch out. You better not quite. Quai?
Don't cry.
It is a 2016 holiday-centric horror film starring... Well, let me get into the logline first.
Yeah.
On a quiet suburban street, a babysitter must defend a 12-year-old boy from intruders, only to discover it's far from a normal home invasion.
Bum, bum, bum.
What a treat. Our cast, the players are Olivia DeJonge as Ashley, Levi Miller as Luke Lerner, Ed Oxenbould as Garrett, Alex Mikic as Ricky. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, Alex. Dak Montgomery as Jeremy, Patrick Warburton as Robert Lerner, and icon Virginia Madsen as Deandra Lerner.
I was so excited when those were the parents of this kid.
Me too. She's so good.
When Patrick I love like Seinfeld.
Yes.
He's Kronk from The Emperor's New Groove.
I was gonna say the Croods. I was like, the Croods?
No.
No, that's absolutely not.
This is not a crude centric podcast.
No.
This is a Kronk centric podcast.
He's just, his voice is so
iconic,
distinct.
Yes.
He's a real treat. And Virginia Madsen, obviously
my God.
genre queen, Candyman. Such a treat.
Haunting in Connecticut, which is a movie I just recently saw the first time. She's a friend of the pod. What's Kyle Gallner's
I was gonna
mom.
say.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Not in real life. In the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, Kyle Gallner's mom listens to this podcast? Hopefully she does.
No, we just talked about Kyle Gallner a lot. He is a friend of the pod, even though he doesn't know it. It's a one-sided friendship.
Maybe he does.
It's a really LA friendship.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, Kyle, slide into the DMs.
Yes. Someday I'm going to do a montage of every time you've said if you're listening to this.
Good.
And then I'm going to send each one of the people you asked if they're listening to it a copy.
It's just like a 2-hour-long reel of me saying, slide into.
Just saying, Papa, can you hear me?
Anyway, Better Watch Out.
Yeah.
Did you watch out?
I did. So you've seen this movie before.
I have seen this movie before. Maybe actually when it came out. I don't think I saw it in theaters, but I definitely saw it like shortly after.
I don't know if it was in theaters in the United States.
Oh, no?
Maybe.
You know what? I think just living in LA, I'm so used to like, when I think about something, I'm like, oh, I didn't see that in theaters, but you're so right. It doesn't, just living in LA, things, even if it's a limited release, it comes here.
You'll get it. The Los Feliz 3 will be playing it.
Right. But yeah, maybe I didn't see it in theaters. Maybe I saw it on VOD.
I saw it for the first time this morning. So
yeah. Should we get into our thoughts?
Yeah. Watch out, Mama.
Watch out. That's all I'll say.
I really liked this movie. I thought it was very fun. It surprised me from the beginning, but about 15 minutes in, I figured out what was happening.
Really?
Yeah, because I was just like, this kid actor's too good.
Yeah, he is quite good.
They didn't cast him just to be a damsel in distress. He's doing too good of a performance. But
you're like, he's naturally unhinged, so there must be something more. Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. I think maybe when I first saw it, I was like, I think I was like kind of drunk or something. I remember like hooting and hollering.
Yes.
Which, not that I didn't this go around when I watched it, but I remember I was in a rowdy space.
Just more internal hoots and hollers.
Yes.
Yeah. On the inside, I'm hooting and hollering.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, but I think this is a really fun sort of like slept on holiday
Yeah,
film.
I
So I'm
feel
glad
like
we're
it's
talking about it.
starting. I think the last couple years I've started to see the algorithm pushing this movie a little bit more.
Oh, nice.
Because I'm familiar with the like images of this movie and like the posters of this movie, and like I see it every year and I'm like, oh, I should watch it. And I'm like, I'm always a little dubious of sort of modern slasher movies.
Yeah.
Because
understandable.
there's a lot of kind of like fine ones.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like we're like 40 years into this thing, and it's like, okay, like especially streaming ones.
Yeah, VOD. You're like, what am I going to
Yeah.
get into? What do I need to watch this? Yeah. But you do.
Yeah,
and
do.
you did. And I'm thankful that you did.
Yeah. I loved it. Opens Christmas.
Yes.
It opens the font of the of Better Watch Out is so it's like what you want your dream Christmas card to look like.
Yes. Yep.
Filmed in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I feel like happens with a lot of winter set movies because I think they just have a harder winter than we do at this point.
Yeah, and that makes sense because a lot of the cast, not a lot, but like the leads are Australian. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but it, kind of like everyone in Hollywood is Australian. I feel like.
Yeah.
Hollywood is either Australian or Canadian.
Yes.
There's like who's in between. Amanda Seyfried. I don't know why that just popped into my head.
I would never once accuse her of being Australian or Canadian. She's perfect just the way she is.
She is. Anyway, you're back to what your point. This was filmed in Australia.
Yeah. Very Christmassy.
Very.
I like it opens with Ashley, our lead character, driving. Sort of, we get a lot of just her side of phone calls throughout this movie. Because that's how phones work, and unless it's on speaker in here. But so yeah, she's driving. They do sort of like an early misleading thing where she's driving and she almost gets hit by. She's in a white car and she almost gets hit by a black car. And knowing that this is a home intruder movie, I sort of was like, oh, we're getting into the Home Alone of it all. Like that black car is like the bad people.
Yes.
And it's like that car never comes back into it.
No,
there's a lot of like playing into your expectations. And I would love to see a trailer for this movie because I hope they didn't give away the
I don't think
twist.
I don't want to speak to. I mean, I also can't remember watching a trailer. I don't know how I came to watch this. Maybe I just was like,
I think it was on Shudder. I think it was a Shudder exclusive for a long time.
yeah, maybe that sounds right. But I think, yeah, I think maybe I was reading on Shout Out Bloody Disgusting. And I think they recommended it, and I was like, "Oh, cool! I'll check that out." So I don't recall watching a trailer either, but the posters and the imagery are very good about not giving anything away. So yeah, like you're saying, we're kind of like led to believe initially that we are looking at the potential intruders or the antagonists, but turns out to be a red herring. The car that almost hits her is just another car.
Yes. Levi, our lead, Luke, he was in that the Greg Berlanti produced Peter Pan movie with Hugh Jackman.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yes, he was Peter Pan. Because I saw him and was like, this Peter Pan looking motherfucker, and I just like pulled up his Wikipedia page and it was like, known for Pan. And I was like, yep, of course.
This little bitch looks like Peter Pan.
Yeah, so we meet Luke, and him and his friend Garrett are talking about the night Luke has planned for his babysitter, where he's like in love with her.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna like show her a good time.
And I'm like, you're a small child.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't think this is gonna work. But he wants to put on a horror movie to like get her scared,
set the mood.
And but yeah, like kids creep me out, teenage boys creep me out, so I'm already on edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh God.
And then we go downstairs, we meet his parents, who are the aforementioned Virginia Madsen and Patrick Warburton.
Virginia Madsen is so good in this.
Yes.
Like,
She's like decorating for Christmas, which feels a little too close to, I'm always going to question the Christmas of it all, but I'm like, your decoration should already be up by now. It feels like it's
Wait a minute.
like the night before Christmas, because there are carolers later in this movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's so. Yeah. She is. I forget how good her comic timing is.
Yeah. She just says, "Sure, you never sucked another man's cock."
Yeah. I feel like I've only ever seen her in on horror movies. So I'm like,
but Sideways.
Here's a gag for you. I've never seen it.
You live in Southern California
I know.
and you
I
haven't
fucking
watched
know.
Sideways?
I know, and I've seen just about every other one of Alexander Payne's movies. I mean, Election,
And you just hate wine.
Descendants. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm
Paul
bad.
Giamatti. You just hate those two things.
Wait, that just reminded me. I need to watch The Holdovers.
Oh, that's a good Christmas movie.
Exactly, that's from yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Should we?
Where were we?
Should we wrap this podcast up early so you don't go watch The Holdovers?
Yeah, sorry. Bye, guys.
Yeah. So Ashley gets there. They
Yes.
start to go through the they have all these weird security measures to make sure that he doesn't leave his room, which I'm like, that's why you have a babysitter.
Yeah. Also, he definitely. I mean, I know we're told that he's 12, but he's definitely 15.
Yeah.
Like,
I actually think he was 13 in this movie.
Yeah?
He just is an older 13-year-old.
yeah, and I guess that the role asks him to be
Yeah.
way more mature than
Yeah.
he is. Sorry, way more mature than his age would imply.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a.
He's just even in the beginning when he was just chitting and chatting with Garrett and talking to his parents and talking to Ashley, he's really doing a good job of balancing the different characters you have to be as a kid.
Yes.
Where it's you got to be a different character around your male friends, you got to be a different guy around the girl you like, you got to be a different guy around your parents.
Right.
And I think he did a really good job of balancing all that
Yeah.
early on.
Yeah.
We literally have a save the cat moment
Yeah.
when a spider, which I was like, now we're in Australia. That spider
Wow, I
was
did not even think about
scary.
that. Yeah, I mean it's a real
Yeah.
spider.
Yeah.
They Luke, we come to find out, actually planted the spider there.
It's
I
his
guess
pet
kind
spider.
of. It scares the shit out of the babysitter with
Yeah,
the spider.
poor Ashley.
Poor Ashley. And it's a scary one.
Yeah.
It's a scary. I would
I
be scared.
didn't like it, no. There's a lot of good unrelated jump scares in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not ridiculous. It's no, but it's
Yeah.
you don't get a lot of a character's behind the fridge when it closes. It's oh, a spider, that's actually scary.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Legitimately. Yeah. I mean, there's practical, reasonable,
Yes.
scary things happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that we have the babysitter Ashley and Luke kind of together, Virginia Madsen and Patrick Warburton are okay, you guys are settled in, and we're gonna head off to our Christmas party for the night. They go to a friend's house. There's also a whole bit about how Virginia Madsen hates her husband's tie.
Yes.
And he's oh, haha. All right, honey, I'll take it off. And then he pulls another equally goofy tie out of his pocket. There's so many gags like that in this movie, or at least in the beginning.
When all their scenes feel they were in Australia for one day.
Yeah,
they had to film Virginia Madsen and Patrick Warburton's scenes in one day.
in 24 in
Yes.
12 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's fast, get this kid in.
Yeah.
Get the babysitter in.
Yes.
Get them with money for pizza.
Yeah.
Then leave.
Yes.
Come back at the end of the night.
Yeah, it's that's a great point. Yeah, it's a very ticking clock.
The film production office employee in me will always think about the banality of scheduling.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can feel it on screen, and I guess this movie you can.
Yeah. So Ashley and Luke are sort of hanging out in the living room.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about pizza. He's saying he doesn't like mushrooms. And then Luke starts drinking champagne straight out of the bottle. Which I was like, oh, you shouldn't be doing. I thought it was going to be. This is where I started to sort of figure out that maybe Luke wasn't all he was cracked up to be. I wasn't sure where it was because he's just being creepy with her.
Yeah.
But I did sort of think it was going to be like a Martinelli's apple cider, because when she takes it from him, she takes it into the kitchen.
Yes.
She has another conversation that we only get her side of. She's about to move.
Right.
Yeah, she's going to move to Philadelphia. So she's talking to an ex-boyfriend who doesn't seem to want her to move to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
She hangs up. She takes a swig of the champagne.
Yeah.
which is where Luke sees that and sort of says, well, now we have a secret on each other. Like,
Right.
you can't tell on
You're not-
me
right.
because I'll tell on you.
You're not supposed to be drinking either. Yeah. And I guess we should mention, like, everyone like loves her. She is, she's a babe. She's a blonde. She's charming. Even the dad.
She's Priscilla Presley in the Elvis movie.
Yes, correct. Yes. Even the dad made some comment, like, on his way out, like, I'm really gonna miss ya, or
it's like everyone loves her.
There's also now that we're getting into it, this movie has, I think some of the sensibilities in this movie mirror some of the sensibilities in Halloween Kills.
Yes,
and Halloween Ends. There's like the humor in this is also in Halloween Kills, but this works.
This is a little bit more
because
focused.
It's this movie is like knows what it is.
Yeah.
Is tongue in cheek and the weird crass is a word that I would use to describe the type of humor.
But
works.
she reminds me of Allison's friend from Halloween 2018.
Oh,
who's the
blonde
babysitter,
yeah.
and like her relationship with Julian. I can't believe how few things I can remember in my life. But I'm sitting here and I'm like, the movie we watched 5 weeks ago, Julian, the little boy that she was babysitting.
Shout out to you.
I have no other information in my head. My head is empty. Just Julian from Halloween 2018 from 2 months ago.
Luckily, at this very time, that information is valuable.
Yes, but I like her. I think he's just really creepy.
Yeah, the Levi Miller, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're getting the back door's open.
The back door's open,
which you never want. And then there's like an ominous swinging.
Like, what's going on?
And then the landline rings.
Yes. And
I don't remember what happens.
There.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
I just wrote landline jump scare.
Yes.
Sometimes I write notes for myself that while I'm writing them, I'm like, you're going to remember exactly what this means. No need for any more information. Then 8 hours later, I'm sitting here and I'm like, landline jump scare. What did past me think?
And that's why taking notes during movies, it's so hard. I mean, that's why we talked, like, this movie I didn't take a lot of notes for, in the last movie I didn't either. I think, like, I want to be as locked in as possible to the movie, even though I've seen it already.
Yeah.
And if I, like, miss something by writing something, I'm going to have to rewind and then blah, blah, blah. And so I totally share that sentiment of, like, quickly writing something and I'll come back to it later.
And then later, like, landline jump scare. What I have meant?
Don't know. But I do recall no one answering. Yeah, when she picks up the phone.
And then they're sitting watching a movie.
Yes.
They're like, oh, we forgot to order pizza. And then the doorbell rings.
Yes.
And there's a pizza delivery, which is creepy. Spooky. She's like, oh, he's like, maybe my dad ordered the pizza. And then she's like, well, it has mushrooms on it.
Yes.
And he's like, my dad might not know I don't like mushrooms.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Patrick Warburton. He's busy.
It's really random.
Yeah.
Once again, Halloween Kills-esque, like,
where
energy.
it's like, I think they're giving us
banh mi.
I think they're, oh my God, they should have ordered banh mi sandwiches and then none of this would have happened.
True.
But yeah, they're watching this horror movie and he keeps trying to, like, make moves on her, and it's so creepy.
Uncomfortable. I know. I felt so bad for her. It's like, you've got this, like, 12-year-old coming on to you. You're like, oh God, get away from me. And go the fuck to sleep.
Go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
This is just like Halloween Ends now.
Yes.
Where I'm like, we need this little kid to end.
Yeah.
So we have a Santa light jump scare where she rounds a corner and there's just a little light up Santa.
Yes.
So while they're watching the horror movie, Ashley grabs his hand when she's scared, and then he's like, now's my time to kiss her.
Yes.
And she is like, no. Oof. You are 12. I am 17. That's not. I don't want the age course discourse on that.
No. Please go to bed. Please go to sleep.
Yeah. And then so they start to hear a noise, and finally pops out, and it's Garrett.
Yes.
Back from the beginning.
Yep.
Garrett makes Luke seem less creepy because he's weird to me because his hair's long. I don't know.
Yeah, I
can say that my hair used to be long.
he does. I mean, he is like slimier.
Yeah.
He is. We see him in the beginning of the movie. He is like in the bathroom, sort of like taking things from the medicine cabinet or just kind of like poking around, and he's kind of like a skeezy.
Yeah.
Just skeezy feels weird to say because he's like 12, but like still, it's
Sometimes
just like
12-year-olds are skis bags.
yeah. It just I'm like, okay, Garrett.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Garrett.
so Garrett has been thus far actually come to find out the one who's been sort of like jump scaring
Yes.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they start to hear people outside. They start to feel like someone's breaking in. Ashley goes and grabs a knife. And she's going to go upstairs and look for the person. And then Garrett gets scared and he runs outside and he gets shot.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. Like
Yes.
it's really
Convincing.
yeah, really creepy. And then Luke and Ashley are left on their own devices to fend off a burglar.
Menace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they go up into the attic to hide, and the spider pops out again and scares Ashley. And this was really cool. Where
It was cool.
She falls, hits the extendable ladder out of the attic, but
Yes.
he grabs her and catches her before she falls.
Yeah. It was a bit that made sense. I was like, oh, good for them. I wonder what the budget on this movie. We have tools that could tell us.
It was
literally.
$3 million.
Okay.
Yeah, he originally had it set up to shoot in the United States for $500,000, and then Australian financier, I guess the director's from Australia or something, was like, "If you want to shoot in Australia, I'll give you $3 million." And he was like, "Great."
Nice.
Virginia Madsen.
Virginia Madsen and real spiders.
Yes, the spider budget on this movie is like
Next level.
$400 a day.
Well, like you
Plus
said,
a handler,
Well-
and at least 2 days, and maybe a day of prep for the spider because they had to train the spider.
it's crazy. Like my brain, I'm like paying for a spider handler, but that's absolutely true.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just like, that is wild. That
Honestly, there were probably 2 spider handlers.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Those were some big ass spiders. She had every right to be scared.
Well, they also probably had a stunt spider and a regular spider.
Yeah. Actually, well, now that I'm thinking about it, I when she's in the attic and she's like, "Get this off of me," there were more than one spider that was crawling on her.
Were there?
I think so. I might be wrong, but
I also had to be like, oh, they had to call the American Humane Society, and it's like they didn't. They're in Australia.
yeah,
I'm sure there's an Australian Humane Society that.
yeah. I mean,
Have we ever gotten more into the weeds about a subject than me talking about how annoying a spider wrangler would probably be?
no, and that's totally my fault. I'm so sorry.
I mean, I started it.
Anyway,
So a guy opened. They're hiding behind a door.
yeah. So after she falls through the attic, she quickly gets back up, and her and Luke sort of get their bearings and see that there is someone wandering like through
Yes.
through the halls, masked with a gun.
Yeah.
So they run into one of their bedrooms. One of the bedrooms, I believe it's either Luke's bedroom or the parents' bedroom.
Yes.
Put themselves like barricade themselves in a closet, and
And there's like this a light up toy that goes off.
Yeah.
When they're in the floor of the closet, and there's another mask in the closet, but nobody's wearing it
this is a good jump scare because I was
Yeah.
like, oh god.
because it's like, oh no, there's another one.
So Ashley sees that mask, and she's
Yeah.
like, and I actually jumped too.
But then she connects something, which is that the mask that the intruder is wearing is a mask she's seen before because it's Garrett's mask. No, it's not Garrett's mask. It's Luke's mask.
Yes.
And so she goes out of the closet and just looks at the intruder and just goes, Garrett, take your mask off. And he takes his mask off because it's Garrett.
Yeah. It's Garrett with a fucking shotgun.
Yeah, which is creepy.
Creepy. God.
Kids these days.
Kids these fucking days.
Yeah. So Luke set up the whole thing to try to kiss her, basically.
Yes. Yep.
Which is just like, okay, do less.
Or do nothing. Or go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
You know what? Go to sleep. You're 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, this we don't have to go on another tangent, but I feel like I saw in his room there was a poster that said like video games made me do it, and I audibly moaned.
Yeah, you're like,
I was like,
"Oh."
no, they didn't. You're
Yeah.
a psycho. By
He is
nature.
a sociopath.
He's a sociopath. Yeah.
Not a diagnosis.
No.
Neither of us are licensed therapists, but
but
if
we
I've
know.
learned anything from other podcasts I listen to where people are diagnosing people with mental health conditions, is that this kid's a sociopath.
It's that this kid's a sociopath genetically, and video games did not solely make him the way he is.
No. So him and Ashley are fighting on top of the stairs, and she's like, "You're creepy. Like, this is weird. This is a lot of work to go through to try to hook up with me." And he hits her down the stairs. And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, he's creepy."
Did that take you by surprise? Were you like, oh my God.
No, I figured it out. I figured it out when they were in the attic. Because the spider was too convenient to have already scared her twice, and he had taken the spider outside ostensibly.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, this is a fix. This is the spider was what revealed it for me.
Yeah.
Because it's like this spider also doesn't naturally occur in wherever they live in Pennsylvania or whatever.
This tarantula isn't found in Pennsylvania.
No. Yeah. So Ashley wakes up tied and duct taped to a chair.
Casual.
Yeah. I just wrote kids freak me out in general. I did also then say this kid is a good actor, so
He is.
yeah. So I think the dialogue in this movie is actually really good too, because here we have Garrett and Luke kind of talking about like sex in the way kids talk about sex.
Yeah, it's graphic, and
They're talking about having sex with like cartoon characters made of bubble gum.
yeah,
And so it's like they're on this weird tangent that like
it's crass.
adult people don't have. They have it in different ways, but
Also, up until now, we hadn't really heard this sort of like dialogue between
From Luke,
from Luke. So
Yeah.
this was like, it's
'cause I
shocking.
think Garrett said some stuff early in the movie
Yeah.
that was a little like suspect.
Yeah, but
But Luke was sort of a little bit more like, I love her.
right, buttoned up.
Yeah.
Literally he has like a sweater on. You're like, oh, this little kid. No, he's full on.
Yeah.
If anything, he's like starting the discourse, and Garrett's just kind of following
Yes.
suit.
Yeah. Which is a lot of what we get in this movie, which is like
Yep.
the relationship between Luke and Garrett is very Luke is the bad guy, Garrett's the like
Like the
follower.
lackey.
Yeah. He starts to play truth or dare with Ashley.
Yes.
And Garrett. And it's creepy.
Yeah.
Garrett dares him to grab her chest, and he
Yeah.
does, and it's just
Yeah, I know.
but she gets a line where he's like, "How did that feel?" And she goes, "Like a kid grabbing my boob."
Yeah, Olivia DeJonge is so
She's really good in this.
Good in this.
Because this movie didn't have to work.
It didn't have to work, and also you can feel like this. It feels the way she's reacting to anything he does in this movie feels so organic. Like she's been babysitting for him for a long time. It really feels like if she had never met this kid before and he was feeling her up, she'd be like, "Oh my God!" But
It's even weirder.
It's
so it's like it's hard for her to process because it's like this kid that she's been watching since he was a little kid,
right?
Is like touching her inappropriately.
Yes, she's like, Luke, I swear to God, it just is. She does a great job.
Yeah. At this point, the front doorbell rings.
Yes.
Thank God.
Thank God, because we get into it's like how much further can this game go?
Yeah.
Actually, I will say though, Ashley, excuse me. Ashley does something pretty clever where she says, "Truth, Garrett, Luke killed your hamster."
Yes. Yeah.
Which I thought was really like a neat tactic to get them to.
Well, and it's also, I think it's her processing that maybe there's been warning signs that Luke wasn't always. And so it's like when it first happened, when Luke first killed Garrett's hamster, she probably was like, "Oh my God, that's an accident. Like,
right.
We're like, this is okay. Like, we're going to get through this. Like, accidents happen." But now that she's processing who he's presenting himself to be and who he's revealing himself to be, she's like, no, he killed that hamster.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that was not an accident. He murdered that hamster
Yes.
probably because he's crazy. But then Ricky rings the doorbell and we get Luke and Garrett kind of trying to hide that Ashley's there.
Right.
And Ricky has flowers.
Ricky
is her first ex-boyfriend.
Right. Ricky is down bad.
Yeah, he's cute. He's a little cute.
He is really
Yeah.
cute. Well, at first you're like, ugh, this kind of like jockey slime ball. But yeah, he comes in, has the flowers, kind of barrels in, which is like, it is obnoxious, but like in the context of, you know, she's tied up.
It's like, we need him to Yeah.
come in. So anyway, he barrels in as, you know, a jock, teenage, arrogant person would do.
Yes. So he sort of starts to walk towards where Ashley's being held.
Right.
But then he hears something upstairs, so he goes up.
Well, Luke is like, oh, Ashley's upstairs.
Oh, yeah. He's like, oh, she's having
she's sick or she's having menstrual cramps.
Yes, yeah. And diarrhea.
And diarrhea. Garrett's like, and diarrhea.
Yeah. And Luke was like, don't add that. That's one detail too many.
Yeah.
But Luke hits Ricky and
Yeah, so Ricky goes up to investigate.
Ricky goes upstairs. Luke walks behind him, hits him in the back of the head with a baseball bat. And I was like, that's not enough. And then he stands up. I was like, yep, that wasn't enough.
Which I really like. It felt, yes, very validating to see. Like, finally, like, someone is realistically hit in the head.
If that was a hammer, he'd be dead.
Cooked. Yep.
But then Ricky slams Luke into the wall, which is sort of like a good reminder of just like, Luke's small.
Yes.
But Luke stabs Ricky through the cheek with a pencil.
Yes. The same pencil that at the beginning of the movie we learned that he has quote unquote been sleepwalking according to his mom, and they are using.
I missed the sleepwalking details. I was like, why hire a babysitter if you're going to have these strategic ways to make sure your kid hasn't gotten out of his room? That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, she was saying that like they put a pencil, sort of like they close at night. They close his door and they put a pencil on the handle.
Yes.
So if in the morning they wake up and the pencil's dropped or whatever, they know he's slept walk. So they keep this pencil in underneath the runner.
Yeah.
Like outside of his room. So as you were saying,
so Luke falls down and he grabs the pencil from under
the runner
and slams it into Ricky's cheek, which is
gross.
Nope.
At first I thought it was his eye, and then you get another shot and you see it's his cheek, which is almost worse. Considering
I'd rather get hit through the cheek than
for sure. But the what happens later in the movie,
is
really visceral with his cheek.
But then after he gets hit in the face, Luke then finally does knock him out with the baseball bat.
Yes.
Blood coming out of the back. I thought he was dead at this point. I thought he was like gone, and then they cut to he's now tied up in the kitchen with Ashley.
Yes.
And so Luke reveals that he had called Ricky. He had texted Ricky from Ashley's phone.
Yes.
To get him to come, making him think that he had a chance.
Right.
With her.
Right.
And he's now going to try to call Jeremy, which is Ashley's current ex-boyfriend.
It's a little kind of confusing. It's a love triangle that isn't really clear. What is clear that
it's like
so many boys,
really just three dots.
Yes. What's clear is that like everyone likes Ashley.
All the boys love Ashley.
Yeah.
And so he calls Jeremy, and Jeremy hangs up. Smart. And then he calls Jeremy again.
Yes.
And this time, he explains that Ashley wants to see him before she moves to Philadelphia or Pittsburgh.
I think it's Pittsburgh, actually. Pittsburgh is in Pennsylvania. I don't know why.
But I said Philadelphia, not Pennsylvania.
You did.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh my God. A city in Pennsylvania. Erie.
Yes. Hershey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where the theme park is.
She's moving to Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, she's going to be a walk-around character at the theme park.
Yeah, but anyway, so the ex-boyfriend hangs up, which is really funny because he we kind of get to know him as a doofus.
Yes.
Very
Yeah.
quickly. Very
Yeah.
quickly. He's
He's like, I don't know Ashley. And it's like, yeah, you do.
yeah, you do. Anyway, so yeah, Luke calls back and is like,
Yeah, come here.
it's me, the kid she
Yeah.
babysits. Come here.
And he's like, I'll be there in about a half an hour.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wow.
Just like that.
And then Ricky pees himself. But he got hit in the head
Ricky.
with a baseball bat twice.
Ricky pees himself.
I'd pee myself too.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think this was because of that. This was like a tactic to get
Out.
Out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And they're like, it smells bad. What did you eat? I was like, asparagus.
Yeah,
That's the only thing I can think of that makes your pee smell bad.
Once again, a Halloween Kills-esque line.
Yes.
Like, it's like, gross. Why would you say that?
I like here Ashley is trying to uncut herself. They're alone in the room for a brief second. Ashley's
Yes.
trying to uncut herself. She has a piece of glass that she's gotten her hands on.
Yes.
And Ricky's trying to have a heart-to-heart with her. He's like, I'm just like, I really like you. I feel so bad. Like, I wish it had ended better. And she's like, just trying to cut herself
Yeah.
out. And I'm like, oh, he's sweet. He's a little sweetheart.
He is sweet. And he's like, listen, when you get free, you run. You just run.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a sweetie.
So now,
Pees his pants. Like,
Yeah.
come on. you
I
know?
mean, we've all been there.
Well-
I haven't peed my pants in a really long time.
Yeah, well. The way you're looking at me right now, I'm not going to tell you when the last time I peed my pants is.
Yeah. Well, you just turned 34. So it was like 32. There was this kid I went to college with who would pee his pants like every weekend because he got
Really?
drunk so much. He got so drunk.
Oh, Jesus.
I went to a small liberal arts college in like rural New Hampshire, and like all of us majored in drinking.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because it's like, what else was there to
Like
do on the
I was
weekend?
in the wellness, the health and wellness living learning community, and I drank so
You were an
much
alcoholic?
the whole time.
Yeah, I mean,
but I
college-
didn't pee my pants, so I was one of the more healthy people at my school.
Yeah, I knew someone in college who also consistently pissed their pants every time they got
I
drunk.
think if I peed my pants once drunk, I would never drink again.
I would also be like, oh, God. Like, no,
But
no.
In a
never
home
again.
invasion circumstance, I would pee my pants to get the kids away from me.
Yeah.
Actually, in most circumstances, I'd pee my pants to get kids away from me.
Yeah. I mean, whatever works, you know?
So Luke catches Garrett smoking weed,
Yeah, this
and
is...
he's like, "You told me to calm down." And he's like, "Not in a way that's going to smell up my house, you weirdo."
Yeah, the way the anger in Luke's eyes.
It feels very Billy Loomis and Steve.
Yes.
No, Billy.
Mocker.
His name is my name. Billy Loomis. It feels very Billy Loomis and Stu Mocker.
It's so funny you mention that because I think that this movie feels like a feature film version of
Like a Scream opening.
Yes.
Yeah.
It feels like a feature film version of the opening of Scream 4, which is like people watching something.
Yes.
People watching something. And like at the end of that opening, you see, was it Kristen
Kristen Bell and Anna Paquin.
like randomly just stab
Yes.
Anna Paquin, and this felt like that movie. Or
Yeah.
sorry, that felt like this movie.
No, this movie did feel very like a slasher movie inside of itself.
Yeah.
Because it is like the first 12 minutes of Scream.
Yeah.
You never leave the house. You never learn about anyone outside of where they are.
Right.
It is
Crazy twist.
It's Casey Becker getting chased for 12 minutes
Yeah.
for an hour and a half.
Yes.
And I really like that.
And it's propulsive. Yeah. It's good.
Yes. And when I realized the limitations of what this movie was going to be, which is we were in this house the whole time, I got a little nervous because sometimes I feel like I need a cop. Like with Black Christmas, I need to go to Nancy's dad from Nightmare on Elm Street and have the like cops figure out what's happening inside the house. But I thought I think it's because Ashley and Luke are really good. You never feel too still, even when it's just scenes of them stationarily talking.
Right. And I think like he is so obsessed with her. I never really was like as concerned, well, not never, but like I wasn't as concerned for her at some points as I was for her exes.
Yeah, so he catches Garrett smoking,
Yes.
freaks out about it, and then to cover their tracks, makes to cover their tracks makes Ricky inhale some of the cigarette,
Joint.
the marijuana smoke. That's what the kids are calling it.
Yes,
today.
marijuana smoke.
Yes.
He forces Ricky to inhale some marijuana smoke, which is like kind of sad because Ricky's like, no, I'm not going to inhale.
I don't
No,
do drugs.
I don't do drugs. And then this 12-year-old is like, yes, you do smoke. And he does.
I mean, honestly, if a 12-year-old told me to smoke, I would probably
you were
smoke.
tied to a chair and had piss in your pants?
Yeah.
I guess if you're
But
gonna
the worst
smoke.
part about this is the smoke comes out of the hole.
That's, yes, what I said earlier when I was
Yeah.
like, this is gross. Yep.
And Luke likes it so much that he puts his hand over Ricky's mouth so that he can't exhale. It can only come out of the hole in his
It's so gross.
cheek. So it's
a gross
gross
bit.
and creepy because it's mean.
Yes.
And it's like a 12-year-old doing a gross, creepy, mean thing
Yes.
to like a full-grown adult. And I'm like, Ricky, you should be able to get out of this.
He's bullying him.
Yeah.
Yeah. This movie's great birth control.
Yeah. I'm never having kids now.
Jesus.
But so they drag Ricky into the stair landing room. The entry
Foyer?
The foyer. The stair landing room. It's a double story room where the door is and there's also a staircase.
Yes. Yes.
Excuse me for not being an architect, Jesse.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for you.
Now that I've yelled at you. But so they're going to Home Alone Ricky.
Oh God.
Which I do have some questions about because he is still tied up to a chair.
Yes.
And I feel like a good CSI person would be like, he wasn't home alone coming through the door with a paint can. The way the paint can hit his face, he must have not been standing. He must have been sitting. And essentially they're going to drop a paint can onto this poor kid's head.
Yes.
A la Home Alone.
Yes. The kid being
Ricky.
Yes. Correct. Yes.
So Ashley frees herself and brings the gun in to confront Luke and Garrett before they've had their chance.
Yes. She grabs the gun.
The handgun that's left on the counter, I
Yes.
think. Yeah.
I think Luke got his hands on it. I think it was like his dad's or something.
Yes, it's in his dad's mattress.
Yes.
But so Luke still drops the paint can.
Yes.
Splattering poor Ricky's brain everywhere. They call this out later, but I wrote down that the yellow of the paint and the red of the blood looks like ketchup and mustard.
Yeah.
And then it's revealed that the gun doesn't have bullets in it.
Yeah. The gun Ashley's holding.
Yes.
Yes.
So she can confront Luke all she wants with it. He knows that there aren't bullets. And he's like, I think he actually says, like, any true sociopath keeps the ammo in the gun apart.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
So Ashley flees the house and fights Garrett in the backyard with the chair still on one of her arms.
Yes.
And she finds that when Garrett had been shot earlier, there is sort of a booby-trapped paint gun outside. Mm-hmm. And so she uses that to get him to trip so that he's getting shot by the paint gun.
Paint gun, yeah.
But she is able to climb over a fence, and we're carolers.
I'll do it for you.
Thank
Carolers.
you. Caroler. That's a hard word.
It is a hard word. It's giving rural juror.
Yeah, carolers. Oh,
Carolers.
God. Carolers. I'm really overthinking
We're
the word.
both having strokes.
This is a buggy situation.
Carolers. Oh my God,
Carolers.
this is a buggy situation.
Caroler. Why is that word hard? I don't know. There are Christmas singers
Yes.
who are traveling house to house
Yes.
singing jaunty tunes.
Of a certain age. Yes.
Can't say carolers, can say jaunty tunes. But the Christmas vibe, this is where I realized that we hadn't been having a lot of Christmas vibes.
Oh, yeah.
The movie, from the Santa jump scares earlier, hasn't really been Christmassy.
True.
There's been stuff around, but there hasn't been a ton of like Christmas.
Maybe just because it's all been in the house.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think like Black Christmas, every single shot has something Christmassy in it.
Well,
and
yeah.
I don't like their kitchen is not decorated for, which normal kitchens are not decorated for Christmas.
Right.
But we just spent so much time in the kitchen
Yeah.
that you lose. Oh yeah, this is Christmas.
Right.
And then you go outside and you get the Christmas singers.
Snow.
Snow. She climbs over. I was just trying to figure out if this was an Easter egg, but she climbs on a red topped doghouse, and I was like, "Is that a Charlie Brown Christmas special reference?"
Maybe.
I think they just needed something for her to climb on, and I'm just way overthinking it.
I mean, but it's you know what? I'm not going to look that up because I like the thought of it being that.
Yeah.
So she is. She makes it over the fence. Is sort of like hurtling toward these carolers.
Yes.
And then before they can acknowledge her or recognize her or see her, she's knocked out by Luke. We aren't shown directly that it's Luke, but this person, this kid, is holding a brick that we previously saw in the movie.
Yes. It was thrown through the window.
It was thrown through the window
Yeah.
as kind of a red herring that said, "You leave, you die."
Yeah. Should have said you better watch out.
It should have said, "You better watch out."
Not
Damn.
not to Monday morning direct this movie, but should have said you better watch out. But this movie could have been originally called You Leave, You Die, and then they're like, you better watch out. It's more fun.
Way more fun. And it's Christmas.
Yeah. So we cut to Ashley's tied up with Christmas lights. Christmas vibes are back in session.
God, yeah, this is everything that you just said. It's almost like the filmmakers knew that, and
Yeah.
they're like, "All right, we're gonna double fucking down."
Yeah, they're like, Stuart does not have enough Christmas in this kitchen. We're going to tie her up with Christmas lights. And then Luke is reminding Garrett of all the situations that they've gotten out of because of Luke's
Savviness.
insanity.
Yeah, charm.
So you're sort of like, oh, this is their dynamic. Like this is not, Luke is not just tapping into these skills now. Like he's a bad boy.
Yeah, he was a baddie from the get. Baddie parentheses derogatory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Batty from Flavor of Love.
No. No.
But Jeremy is that guy from Stranger Things.
Yes, Jacker Montgomery.
Yeah, he was also was he in the new Power Rangers movie?
I think
With
he
Naomi
was.
Scott?
I didn't see it.
Oh.
Should I watch it?
I like that. It's not great, but it's better than a lot of the like. We're gonna start a franchise with this property that people like but don't really do a lot with right now.
Like modernized.
Yeah, but I think it like Elizabeth Banks is really funny in it.
Love.
But
Wait, oh my God! We both love Naomi Scott from Smile too. I'm
love will be the death of
I'm gonna watch Power Rangers.
Rangers.
I'm literally gonna watch Power Rangers. After this.
Sky Riley did not make my YouTube music Wrapped this year.
Damn it!
But I was a little worried that she might. I was like, what if she's my number 10?
I mean, look.
Like I was like, she's not going to make top 5, but I listened to a lot of Sky Riley for an entire month of the year.
Yes, that would be on brand, obviously.
Yeah. So Luke is trying to get Jeremy to write an apology letter to Ashley. And he's sort of saying like, Ashley needs this.
Yeah. Jeremy shows up and he's like, I want to come inside. He's standing outside, out back. And I forget why he's out back. I think, how did he get out back? Did he come in through the back?
It feels like it feels like everyone's entering through the back.
Okay.
I don't know why.
I think he heard something and went around the house, and he confronts Luke, who's outside, and Luke is like, no, you can't come in. She wants you to write an apology letter. And he's like, what the fuck? And Luke is like, sit here on this swing and write an apology letter.
And he writes
like,
sort of a half-assed one, and then Luke is like, this is serious.
Yeah.
Like, Ashley needs this from you. And then he writes a little bit of a longer one.
He's kind of like hyping him up. He's like, oh, you can't write a better one. And he's like, okay, fine.
I'll show you.
I'll show you.
I was in Stranger Things.
And he he writes that.
Yeah. And then he is going to use this letter to make it look like a suicide note.
Yes.
So he puts a noose around his neck.
Yeah, this is in like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
After Jacker Montgomery's character writes the note, he's still sitting down on the fucking swing. Luke runs up behind him, puts a noose over his neck, and then we learn he's like positioned on the swing so that it will be easy to sort of pull him up into the tree
with a riding mower.
With a riding mower.
Smart.
And
it's not for me, but it's
smart kid.
Yeah.
He strangles him. Luke
he
strangles.
could have been Jigsaw's apprentice if he really put all of his efforts into this.
Yeah, but then the student would have become the teacher in like 5 seconds because this kid's way crazy. I feel like Jigsaw is an empath in a way this kid will never be.
No.
This kid is fucking crazy. And unfortunately, in a fight, this kid would win.
Yes.
Also, Jigsaw has cancer, so he's like, kind of like dying, you know?
Yeah, and this kid has so much life ahead of him.
Yeah.
But then Luke goes inside and stabs Ashley. And so, wait, I
think we skipped something.
I didn't write it down, but at some point, Luke shoots Garrett. I think it's when they're talking about all the things they got through.
Yes.
And he shoots him with the gun with bullets and not the gun without bullets in it.
Yeah. He has a shotgun that he shoots him with. Yeah.
And so it's sort of like he goes to Ashley and he's like, "You're the last. Like, if you're not gonna love me, like, I got to kill you because I'm framing Jeremy for all these bitches' deaths."
Yeah. Yep.
And so he stabs her in the neck.
I think so. We're not shown
neck or shoulder. It's a side. Like it's you don't see it, but it feels like a place you don't want to be stabbed.
Yeah, because also like we see a shot of her post stabbing, and she's like bleeding out.
Yeah.
There's like a decent amount of blood. So like I don't know, neck versus shoulder. Neck has more blood. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
You're not a neck doctor?
I'm not a neck doctor. What's a neck doctor? Is a neck doctor called anything?
I think it's just a chiropractor.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But so now we get Luke dancing around the house, doing like moving all the things he has to move to frame Jeremy for all these people's deaths.
Once again, it's giving Scream 4.
Yeah.
It's giving Emma Roberts' character.
Very
Joe Roberts.
I love that her last name's the same.
It's
really easy.
This
is the Scream 4 of Australian Christmas set home invasion slasher movies.
100%.
Yeah. I'm always saying that. But he has the like plausible deniability of if he can put the pencil on his door.
He forgets that though. But then he remembers after he's like cleaned everything up and staged everything. He like puts his jammies on and gets into bed and he's like, all right, everything's set up so that like I am going to be there. My parents are going to come home and they're going to see this mess and I'm going to be in bed.
Yeah.
Then he gets into bed and remembers, oh shit, the pencil.
Gotta grab the pencil. And so he's trying to put it on the door as he's closing it, but that's not door science.
Yeah.
So he puts it on and then goes to another room to climb out the window on his like front porch.
Yes.
And he keeps he's tracking his parents through their phones.
Yes.
And they're very close and he keeps knocking things off the roof.
Yeah, Christmas decorations.
Yeah, and they pull in and he's hiding behind a reindeer.
Yeah.
But he gets in just in the nick of time.
He gets in.
And then we don't see it, but we get Virginia Madsen's voice reactions to the tableau that she is walking into, which is Garrett dead. Ricky, who she does not know, dead.
Yeah.
Ashley, dead.
Ricky dead via paint can. I really wish they had shown us Virginia Madsen's reaction.
Yeah, I would have liked, I would have loved to see more of the paint can. I think it's an expensive prosthetic to make, so I'm sure it wasn't like perfect.
Right.
But like, if they could have spent a little bit more money on this movie, I would have liked a little bit more, because that's like the stunt of the movie.
It is. I don't even know that we would have need to have seen. Yes, I would have loved to have
I don't know if we need to see it hit, but just I would like a quick flash to his face with paint can in it.
And then her just being like, what the fuck?
So his parents rush up, check on him.
Yep.
He's okay. He's scot-free.
Yeah.
Except for
when
they're wheeling everybody out, we hear one of them still alive. She put duct tape on her wound. And then we get Ashley being wheeled into an ambulance, pulling her hand out from under the blanket, flipping him off through the window.
Yeah, he's looking out the window. He's like, oh, you bitch.
Yeah. I would have. I think we could have gotten a direct sequel to this movie.
Yeah.
Him sneaking out of the house, going to the hospital to try to kill her in the hospital.
Well, there's a post-credits scene. Did you watch?
There's a post-credit scene?
Yes. He's like, Mom, I mean, it's not much. He's like, Mom, we got to go to the hospital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not. But it lends itself to a sequel because he's like, oh, it was very much like Halloween 2.
Yes.
It was very much that energy. Anyway, so they kind of set it up for a sequel because, like you said, she flicks Luke off through the window, and that's sort of it.
Yeah.
And you're kind of led to believe, oh, okay, she's alive. She's going to tell the police that this psycho kid did everything.
Yeah, she's going to be like, I did not like anything that happened to me in that house.
Which I kind of understand, like, the critic. I know people didn't like this. They're like, oh, he got away with it, blah, 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 blah. But, like,
he didn't get away with it.
He didn't get away with it. This confirms that he did not get away with it.
I think sometimes people refuse to accept that things happen off screen. Mm-hmm. And where it's like, no, we have all the facts to know that he's not going to get away with this. First of all, as I discussed earlier, no CSI person's going to believe his job. This is above his weight class.
This is above his
framing levels.
Literally, yeah.
But I also like not. We don't have to see everything. I like this movie ended tight.
Yes,
it was. Ashley is alive.
Yes,
he is fucked.
He's fucked. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Do you think he would go? I mean, he's 12. Is he going to go to juvie or is he going to go to fucking straight up? This kid's going to go.
He would get tried as an adult.
You think?
Or he would get tried as an adult or insanity plea.
Oh.
Because he's got a good case. There's some screws loose.
We need a sequel. We need a sequel. I mean, I think it's time we could do like, okay, so say the insanity plea happens. He goes away for how many years ago was this? 8 years.
Yeah, and then he gets out.
And he comes after Ashley.
You know what the sequel's called?
Still watching?
You better not cry.
Oh my fucking God. Jason Blum, if you're listening to this.
Yes, call me.
Jason Blum.
Yeah.
Jason Blum.
Okay, because now I want to talk about something that's really off subject, which is the Lionsgate film Now You See Me. That the sequel was Now You See Me 2 and not Now You Don't. So mad about it still. It should have just been called Now You See Me, Now You Don't.
You might be
the
only person on Earth carrying.
They're making a third movie in the franchise.
I
never saw the sequel. I'm not the only person still thinking about that first movie.
I actually haven't seen any of that.
The first movie is really fun. I never watched the second one because Isla Fisher wasn't in it.
I think she's coming back for this.
She is, yeah, but she was like, I'm a little pregnant, and they're like, no, we can't almost drown you in a tank of water like we did in the first one when we got pregnant.
Should I watch the first one?
I think it's fun.
Okay.
I think it's stupid. But like it's fun in a stupid way.
You know, I mean, the sequel directed by the now
John Chu,
prolific John Chu.
How many times have you seen Wicked in theaters?
I've seen it once.
Only?
But
oh, is that the normal amount of
fire in your eyes right now? No, I guess what I was getting at is I should maybe watch it now for him.
Yes.
To see
his flair,
how far he's come. Yeah.
But this is not a Now You See Me podcast, but maybe it should be.
Maybe it should be.
Yeah. I love Better Watch Out. I'm really glad you recommended this. This was not on my radar for our holiday season. You threw this out. And I'm really grateful you did because it's a new, it's going to be an annual watch. I'm going to make, not to always be the person who's like, my husband, I'm going to make Chris watch it. It's been a delightful time.
It's been so delightful. I'm so glad I could gift you this movie.
But we have the results of our New Year's Eve movie poll.
We do.
We will be watching the 1980 magic themed train slasher movie starring Jamie Lee Curtis that takes place on New Year's, Terror Train. I'm so excited to talk about this with you because it's a more recent addition to my slasher canon.
Okay.
I think I watched it in the last 5 years.
Okay.
I've seen it like 8 times now.
I've never seen it.
It's so bonkers.
Okay.
Can't wait to talk about it. Can't wait to see you guys next week. This is going to be our last podcast before Christmas.
Oh,
so Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, guys.
To all of our little
and to you.
spooky babies. No,
spooky babies.
I don't I love Christmas. I feel like every week we also have a new nickname for people who listen to this podcast, but Spooky Babies might be Maylee's favorite one.
I'm gonna veto that one. But Merry Christmas to all.
To all, and to all a spooky night.
To all, you know what? Sure. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a freaky deek night.
Bye.
Bye.
This podcast has been presented and produced by Stuart Ross and Jesse Tevitt. Edited by Stuart Ross. All recording equipment provided by Photo Booth Productions. To support our podcast, join us at patreon.com/anothergayhorrorpod.